Hello everybody, Glitch Reaper here. I'm back for another Lycanites equipment video. And this particular combo is one that I've actually made in survival before. And not just planned out, but something where things just kind of converged. But I thought to show off this particular combo with what it could do because it turned out kind of interesting, and I did think of a good name theme for it. Usually I plan it out a little more in advance, but it's something that just kind of came together, and I thought, this works. So I decided that I wanted to do a video on this one. And so you have basically seen this design before, actually, so it's kind of more of a review of the design rather than thinking of a whole new way it could be done. So this is Burning Malaise, the same design of sword that I've been using in my Thaumic Resurgence 2 pack in its current season. Well, Season 1 kind of had an interesting conclusion, but anyhow, ignore that. We're going with this sword. But it has some interesting properties, and I'd also like to show that there's something extra. Remember last time I was claiming it would be nice if you could compile what all the sword could do and show it after all the parts have been put together and it's actually completed? Well, Lycanite did note that, and he has made it where you can actually see all of its statistics in a nice format, including the ability of compiling what all it can still do, and also the sweep statistic I was so curious about, because I was wondering how the math even worked, like if it would be like the greatest component or if they'd actually all add up, and this will help answer that question. So, as you can see, this uses an Ichotech arm, a Darkling Skull, and a Cinder Blade, and as usual I will also go over where you can find all those things, and I'll kind of reveal all that this thing can do then, although you gotta preview that way. And remember, making the equipment forges that you need to have a crafting table and a wooden axe to make your first level one. You use that in an iron block to make your second level one, and the final level requires the previous one and a block of diamond, and is pretty much the only one you'll ever need because it can handle all the parts. In all previous levels, all levels period, so yeah, you just really need that one. So, as you can see, I've kind of set up my demonstrations of how it looks, and I kind of forgot to close that. Still doesn't settle in on that quite right, but that's on Bibliocraft's side, not Lycanites. At least it does display, it just doesn't do it quite perfectly. You kind of get the blade and the tail hanging out, so oh well. Anyhow, what you'll be needing is an Ichotech arm. These guys usually show up either, well, kind of in swamps, but what they're really showing up near is usually mushrooms. So if you compile a large, like, mushroom farm, they're bound to show up, so you'll also be farming Ichotechs as well. And their special ability is to grant plague to their targets, and that comes through in this arm. So plague is kind of like poison, but worse, because it's basically contagious poison. So it gets around. And as usual, I only go with level 3s whenever I'm doing these demos, because they're the best you can get. So it shows what you're really going for, what your whole effort is moving towards here. But yeah, this Ichotech arm is a base. You'll always need a base because they add the head slot, and some bases add pommels. This one doesn't, but it does add a head slot, and that's what you need to get yourself the full look, because you obviously need that to determine what's going to be all together. And this is a Darkling Skull. This is a headpiece that adds a blade slot. So this is kind of on your path to making it a sword. Now, it adds up, and you can see here it says sweep is 45, and the final amount here is 225, and that's because this one has a sweep of 180. So you can tell the math does all add up, so any component that adds something like sweep or damage, it all gets compiled in the final composition here. Now the thing here is that the Darkling Skull, in addition to adding the blade slot, also adds the leech effect, which allows you to draw health from your enemies. It also allows you to occasionally summon Darklings when you hit the enemy. Still haven't really conclusively seen that happen in one of these, but you never know. Now, Darklings happen only underground, so you will occasionally find them whenever you're caving. And if you're lucky, you'll probably get one of their skulls. Hopefully level 3. But again, eventually you'll be able to upgrade them, so you just hold on to all those parts for when that happens. Well, unless, of course, you want to convert them to something else, because you can trade in Lycanite's parts for some useful resource each, and I might go over that in a separate video. Anyhow, we're going to the final part that makes it truly a sword, the Cinder Blade. These come from cinders, and they show up from fires. So if you light a lot of stuff on fires, you're bound to find cinders. Uh, Obviously, using netherrack to keep those fires eternal is a good way of just keeping them around. And if designed just right, you could have quite a farm for other resources too. But again, right here, you're mainly after the part, which is the blade. This will cause the target to just light on fire if directly struck. Harvest as a sword, so remember, anything that can just be harvested faster by a sword can be harvested by this, but swords don't have anything exclusive to them that can only be harvested by a sword. So that's kind of a thing to keep in mind here, is when you're also using it as a tool, you can chop through things like pumpkins and cobwebs, but it's not going to necessarily give you anything special. Now, it also has a couple other uses, and this one, for one thing, it does that cool arc of fire thing I've been using. So remember, this is where it comes from. It just fires a whole bunch of ember shots in a kind of a mid-range arc and in a big spread. So you can hit a wide area with it in front of you and just roast them. It also occasionally summons cinders whenever you hit, but again, I'd love to see it happen, but I just haven't had the luck yet. We'll see. We'll see if the demonstration dream finally comes true. So let me put this thing together and do the traditional naming of the item as I finished it right here. Remember, parts will light up as previous ones give you the slot. So whenever I put in the base part, the each stick arm, it gave me the head slot, which all parts that have the base type will grant you a head slot. And that gives you the blade slot, so I got the Cinder Blade and put into there, and now I have my final piece of equipment, which I will do the renaming ceremony again. And so we now have Burning Malaise. And the reason why I named it that is it's very fiery and roasting, yet at the same time it has this whole sensation of disease and parasitism. So this one gives your enemy a very bad day with both fire and plague, and you also drain their health. And wolves. I'd rather not fight wolves because they're nice normally. There is a raven. There's also a hippocampus. They're nice. I'm surprised that same hippocampus has been there the whole time. That's just been kind of funny. What do I want to rampage against this time? Because I do like demonstrating these in full battle form. Okay, let me figure this out. There's something new. It's not exactly an offensive something, but I am kind of curious about it. It is a new mob that's farmable. It's the crake. So let me just grab a few of these, because I'm curious about their behavior. They're not entirely harmless, just saying. You can set them off, so I guess I'll try doing that. It's kind of funny how you do it. I think they're a reference to the movie Quiet Place, and maybe combined a bit with Stranger Things. When you see these things, you will know what I mean. So it's going to be quite plain to see. Again, normally they're kind of harmless. They can be farmed, apparently. Yeah, but they don't like loud noises like sprinting. So, if I do this... Did I miss one? Oh, there you are. Oh! It finally happened! I'm sorry, I accidentally... Did I accidentally hit you? Or is that just dying because of time limit? I'm not sure. I think that was... Yeah, I don't know if I accidentally hit my minion or not, but I did, in fact... Wait. Just got one of those randomly. That's nice. But I did, in fact, finally get a summon I can conclusively say was a summon. Now, this also shows that they do have a nice, tasty meat. The cooked crake meat, which, as usual, should give you a bit of a buff. Let me see. And it gives you this special ramen that looks very nice. I'm seeing that That looks really good. You need an egg and a bowl. Okay. Apparently you can use it as one of the meats for an aquatic treat. So, aquatic creatures apparently love nomming them. So what boost do I get? I'm trying to remember. Ooh, repulsion. Yeah, that's right. That's the new effect. Mmm, tasty. And very reflective. Well, kind of. It's supposed to keep creatures from gripping you. So anything that has a grapple attack, like, oh, say, a pinch beetle from Twilight Forest, or a Quetzalcoatl from Lycanites mobs, will have a very hard time maintaining their grip. Hence why the descriptions mention it's vibrating. And the ramen's apparently the upgraded version. Mmm, ramen. Well, kind of. It just seems like a better ramen, I think. So, well, we'll see. I'll get into culinary practices at some point. But anyhow, this has been Burning Malaise, and they certainly felt its burning power. I don't know if I got much life drain out of it on them whenever I did that whole thing. But that comes up close and personal, especially to things that are, well, not immune to fire when you have to just go up and whack them with it. So it all happens. Anyhow, this has been Burning Malaise, and it's good to get into a quick demonstration of not only that, but also the crakes, which apparently I have well cooked. Haha, this is also a culinary tool. Yes, it's good for cooking. Anyhow, I'll be logging off. Hope to hear from you all later, and bye for now, everybody.